Welcome to Everyday Martial Artist, a weekly podcast where you'll join me, Brian Doucette, as I interview a different martial artist each episode and hear their story. Some guests you may have heard of, and some you probably haven't. Be sure to subscribe where all your favorite podcasts are available. Also visit our website at everydaymartialartist.com. If you're listening for a specific interview, I sure hope you'll stay and check out the other episodes. A very special thank you to Topher Williams for our custom theme music. And now, the newest episode of Everyday Martial Artist. Everyday Martial Artist is brought to you by KOOnline.com for all your martial arts needs. Sparring and safety gear, rank belts, uniforms, weapons, patches, and more. Wholesale supplies made by martial artists for martial artists. Visit us today at KO-online.com. You know, one question I ask every guest on Everyday Martial Artist is about their favorite martial arts book. And there's never been one quite like Martial Theory by Steve Perlman, described as the art of war for the martial artists. Martial Theory helps any martial artist or instructor take their understanding and teaching to the next level. And at martialtheoryU.com, you'll find a global community with instructor groups, Q&A with Steve, live events, and demonstrations to help you apply martial theory directly to your training. It's not just a book, it's a movement. Find Martial Theory on Amazon, and when you join martialtheoryU.com, use discount code EverydayMA for 20% off. That's under $20 a month for life. That's martialtheoryU.com, code EverydayMA. Hello and welcome to Everyday Martial Artist. I'm your host, Brian Doucette, and as we do every week, we're joined by a brand new guest talking about their life and their journey throughout the world of martial arts and sometimes other stuff they're involved in. My guest today is a pioneering figure in women's mixed martial arts whose career helped shape the growth of the sport during its early years. She began her martial arts journey at the age of 14 through Taekwondo, eventually earning her black belt before discovering Muay Thai. That path led her to the Minnesota Martial Arts Academy, where she transitioned into mixed martial arts and quickly made a name for herself as an aggressive and exciting fighter. In 2007, she burst onto the national scene by winning the HOOKnSHOOT Women's Grand Prix with 3 knockout victories with a combined time of just 1 minute 45 seconds, instantly establishing herself as one of the top rising stars in women's MMA. Over the course of her career, she competed in organizations including Elite XC, Invicta Fighting Championships, RIZIN, and the Professional Fighters League, sharing the cage with many of the most recognizable names in the sports, including Gina Carano, Liz Carmouche, Amanda Nunes, Julia Budd, and Kayla Harrison. Beyond fighting, she's also played an important role behind the scenes in the evolution of women's MMA, serving as a matchmaker for Invicta FC and helping create opportunities for the next generation of fighters. After more than 15 years of competing professionally, she officially retired from mixed martial arts in 2023, leaving behind a legacy built on toughness, perseverance, and dedication to martial arts. Please welcome my guest today, Kaitlin Young. How you doing today, Kaitlin?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited for this. I wanted to have you on the show for a while, and I appreciate your time, and I'm glad we're making it happen.
Me too. We've been talking for a minute about doing it. So.
Yes, we have. It's like that with a lot of my guests. I have some guests where I think my record is literally 20 minutes. I invited someone on the show, and they're like, yeah, how about right now? I'm like, okay. It's like, quickly set up my stuff and record them.
Let me set up my
Exactly.
recording.
And I've had other ones take 3 to 4 years or more. And some I'm still working on. So it's all good. It's worth the wait. That's the important thing. Well, I mentioned in the intro, you started Taekwondo at age 14, but I want to know, first of all, was that your very first experience with martial arts at all? And what led to that? Kind of where that first experience came from, that first spark that kicked off your journey?
I had dabbled a little when I was around 10 or 11 because my sister had started.
Okay.
And I just sort of got dragged along. She was actually younger. But I think we only did it for a few months, and then I got in trouble when I was 14. Okay. And my mom actually pulled me out of school to homeschool me, and she made me get a job. I was pushing carts at Festival Foods in Circle Pines. And then I also had to choose an activity. And originally I wanted to play football, and the coach was even going to let me, but my mom was so worried I was going to get hurt.
Really?
I was the same size when I was in 7th grade. So I was actually a pretty good size for a 13, 14-year-old kid. But I ended up doing Taekwondo. And it's so funny because, jokes on mom a little bit. I ended up doing a lot more dangerous stuff than just a game of football, probably.
Yeah. So did you choose that Taekwondo school? And did you look at any other schools before picking that one?
No, a guy she worked with was a black belt there.
Okay.
Or his brother was, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we ended up going there. And it was like a really small school. They were kind of barely getting by. They were, the heat wasn't always on, but they had a sauna. So that was nice.
Nice.
And in Minnesota, you understand what that means.
Oh, yeah.
But it was a really awesome place, and I met some great people who are still in my life. Like some of my very best friends are I met at that time.
Okay.
And I think just influenced me a lot in terms of one of my best girlfriends to this day. Her name is Jennifer. I met her there. She was a great training partner. We were about the same size, and one of us would just move up a weight class or move down.
Mm-hmm.
But she got me to do PSEO, which is effectively you get your high school to pay for college courses while you're still in high school.
Okay.
She introduced me to that, just a huge, huge influence on how things went from that point on. Because I'll tell you, before I was training martial arts,
Mm-hmm.
college was not on the docket.
Okay.
So, yeah.
You mentioned meeting Jennifer. So I'm curious, when you first started there, what was kind of the ratio of boys to girls? Because I know it varies in so many schools. A lot of times I've talked to many female guests where like, I was the only girl there. There was only 2 of us. So kind of what was the kind of ratio when you started there?
Yeah. I've been in many rooms like that.
Mm-hmm.
Where it was the only for a long time, or one of 2 or one of 3. But there it was, now that you mention that, shockingly even.
Wow.
I want to say over time, she and I were definitely the most consistent, but
Mm-hmm.
there were only, a small handful of guys that were training as much as we were, if even as much as we were then.
Okay.
So it's not like it was a really big spread.
Mm-hmm.
There were, I would say, like 6 to 7 ladies we had coming through that trained for a length of time while I was in that kind of 5-6 year gap.
That's kind of cool.
That I was there. Yeah. And I think it helped, our coach, his name is Panarin Coy. He's a wonderful guy. He was an Army commander. I think he ended up becoming a battalion commander later. And he was such a hard ass, but he was very egalitarian.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you do the work, you belong here. I don't care what's between your legs or what color you are, how old you are.
Nice.
If you can hang, you're welcome. And he was just same thing, an incredible influence. And I actually credit him with kind of giving me the base to be able to handle some of the really strenuous training I had years later in Thailand and whatnot.
That is cool. I've told this story a couple times on my show, but you'll probably get a kick out of it after just telling me how it was there. When I was in California back in 95, 96, when I lived out there, me and my friends went and just visited a few different martial arts schools. And I think it was a Hapkido school, if I remember correctly. But I just remember that we're sitting there watching, we just went to watch class. And they're going through like the beginning exercises. And the instructor, I swear to God, this is what he said. He's like, all right, class, 50 sit-ups, women, 25. And every exercise, he cut it in half for the women. And we're just like,
so insulting.
I know. Yeah. And it didn't bother any of them.
Oh,
that's the thing. Like someone like you, or even like people from my class back home, in Fargo, that have been like, I can do twice as many in the guys. Get out of my way. It's like, wow.
Yeah, right. The soft bigotry of lowered expectations.
Yeah. So it's refreshing to hear that your instructor was like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I do think because I lived in Los Angeles for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
This is a bit of a tangent, but I do think there is something uniquely egalitarian about the Midwest.
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't assume it would be that way. For some reason, I would think it would be more traditional here than the coast, but I swear it's just competence for both is sort of expected here. It's interesting.
Yeah, I get that. That makes sense. So think back if you remember like your very first class, maybe your first 1 or 2 classes at that school. What stands out? What made you decided to do it, but what made you keep coming back? What made you think, man, I love this. I'm gonna keep going.
Oh gosh, I don't even remember my first couple classes.
Okay.
I remember really enjoying that it was hard. And once we started sparring, that made me so happy. I really enjoyed that. The forms and the board breaking, I couldn't really get into. And I often in traditional martial arts, I found it frustrating that people, from my perception, that didn't work that hard would get up there in rank when you could sort of tell if it came down to it, they wouldn't be able to do very much in terms of fighting, right? Yeah. And especially as a young person, you know, that's sort of the only way you see things. And, you know, as a kind of coming full circle now, I understand why somebody might be awarded a belt for their expertise, not necessarily their skill.
Right.
But at the time, I just felt like forms were such a silly ass thing to give somebody a belt for.
Yeah.
And I think that is one of the reasons that then Muay Thai ended up appealing to me so much.
I'm with you. I was never a fan of forms. I mean, I've been doing martial arts over 40 years, and I'll do them, but they were always my least favorite part.
Yeah, it was just like, yeah, okay, I'll do it,
Yep. Do you remember what style of Taekwondo it was? What system? What kwan?
Yeah, it was a Olympic style.
Okay.
So, and at that time, it's funny, if people follow Joe Rogan and you see some of his old matches, it was very different than it is now.
Yeah.
The Olympics have a way of ruining every damn combat sport. And they changed the rules to make it more exciting, make spinning kicks worth more, all this. But at that time, in order to score, you had to kick somebody hard enough in the body to displace their body.
Yep.
Everything was 1 point. You could knock people out, kicking them in the face. And in fact, there were a lot of really nasty knockouts because they'd have these tournaments on a gym floor. Somebody get KO'd, and there's no mat. So they get KO'd and then crash right into the floor below them. And oh my goodness. And if you were at the black belt level, they'd let you do it without pads on your feet.
Yep.
So it was
for black belts, we could do it without chest protectors, without gloves.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, they let us do that.
What style are you coming from?
That was also traditional Taekwondo. I mean, we do Olympic style sparring. The WTF style. Yeah, even now, like when my instructor does tournaments, it's the same thing. It's if at black belt level, they don't have to wear gloves, they don't have to wear chest protectors. So
it was just a different deal. So I really liked that. I really liked, I suppose, the functionality of it. I really appealed to me, does this work? Not, is this pretty? Does this work? And I think that's, ultimately why I ended up in MMA, because it's one of my favorite things about the sport is you got to let go of the shoulds.
Yeah.
Because it just, all that matters is what is actually happening, what is actually working. There's so many less rules, I guess. And what I mean by that is even the stuff that is the correct thing to do in jiu-jitsu, well, it's maybe not correct to do in a fight when somebody can hit you.
Right.
So having to let go of that and just use creativity and your ability to adapt in the moment, sort of combined with your toughness and how much damage you can give versus take.
I like it. No, I get that completely. So do you remember your very first tournament in Taekwondo and what belt you were?
I do. Yeah, I was, what belt was I? Purple?
Okay.
I think. And I was 14, right? I went against a gal who was older and higher ranking, and I remember I won it. It was at Concordia. There's a tournament that they have at Concordia. I think it's still at Concordia University in St. Paul every year. Yep. And that was really fun. At the black belt level, they have these tag team matches, and winner gets $500. But
really?
Where you pick a partner and you can tag in and out, but they can tag in and out as well. And you always pick somebody who's a different weight class, right?
That's cool.
And if you knock one of them out, then that poor person has to fight both of you tagging in and out. So it's such a cool thing.
That's awesome.
So it was that tournament.
Okay.
And God, what year would the 2001?
Okay.
I think. No, 2000.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how'd you do at that one?
Oh, I won it.
You did. Okay.
I won it, but I think I just had the one match that day.
Okay. Yeah, I remember.
She was 17, right? I was 14, so I was all excited about beating a 17-year-old.
Yeah, I remember back then a lot of the tournaments I'd go to, especially for the females, because there was less, like we talked about, less of them in the school. So a lot of times the females would be 3 belt groups together instead of with the men, you're fighting only yellow belts, only green belts. Well, the women, it's green, blue, purple all together because we only have 4 of you. So
yes. Yeah, that happened a lot. And it was interesting in Taekwondo. It was never hey, we're just going to throw you in with the guys.
Yeah.
But that did happen in jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
So it's always interesting if they were you're closer in size to these guys. So back in the day, I don't know that happens today.
I know little kids with Taekwondo and stuff, they'll do it. Of course, once
yep.
they hit a certain age, they try not to, unless and even if it comes down to there's no other competitors, do you want to compete with the guys? And usually the girl, sure, why not? So
yep,
that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And do you remember your first belt test there? What kind of stuff you had to do for your very first belt test? I know you mentioned board breaks and patterns and stuff. Was that all involved in the testing?
Yeah, we had the side kick and then the 1-step self-defense.
Okay.
And that's kind of a fun thing too. Even once at the school I was at, once you got to black belt, you had to write your own self-defense curriculum, and you could do a theme. So
Oh,
I did all
nice.
mine off of somebody grabbing you by your ponytail.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it was cool. They had some really cool stuff. And, I talked about my sort of this sport coach who actually, he now owns that gym. It's still going.
I was just going to ask
Minnesota
that.
Taekwondo Center.
Okay.
Penarcoy. But at that time, there was a gentleman named Dr. John Holland running everything. And he was I think a biophysicist. He had worked on like Apollo 12 or something. And he was such a neat, and still is such a neat person. And he would come in and talk to us about the way your bones remodel with all the striking, and just a really neat person. But he's so brilliant. You can kind of tell he had to dumb things down to speak to the rest of us.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really like just a fabulous group of people there.
So do you ever pop back in there and visit? And
Oh yeah. Occasionally I'll see those guys. It's so cool. I still sort of can do the spinning kicks and whatnot, but it feels so weird after Thai boxing and doing MMA for so long.
And what kind of breaks did you have to do for your black belt test? Do you remember?
Oh, man. I don't remember that one. It's weird. I remember for brown belt, we had like a flying side kick, and you had to do it. It was like 4 boards at a time.
Nice.
And you had to jump over multiple human beings
to
do it. I don't remember offhand what the black belt ones were.
Did you ever have to do bricks or only boards?
No, we never did bricks. We did boards.
Okay. You were lucky. We had our black belt, first degree black belt, you had to break a brick with your head. So
I mean, a headbutt is a powerful.
It is, but that's also a mental thing. I mean, you have to,
for sure.
Anyone who misses that, it's completely mental. It has nothing to do with strength. It's mental. So trust me, I know. Because when you try it 5-6 times and it doesn't break, all you're doing is smashing your head into a brick 6 times. So.
Oh man. Yeah, that's a trip. No, we never did that.
Okay, cool. And I know you trained there, you got your black belt. What was it that made you decide to look for something else and move on? And I know you found Muay Thai, but how did that happen?
My coach got deployed because he was an Army guy.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the Guard. And I didn't want to like go to another gym that didn't feel right to me. And I had started like reffing, and I had gotten pretty far. I had gone to national team trials for I had gotten invited to national team trials for both AAU and USTU. Mm-hmm. It was USTU at the time. And I was like runner up. So just like I was right there, but not quite, you know? So that summer I went to a kickbox because he was gone, but I had qualified for trials. I still wanted to go.
Okay.
So I started like cross training with a kickboxing gym, which maybe wasn't the best choice, but it was better than nothing. And that was fun. CB Bunkholt's gym. It was in South Minneapolis, and they were great. And I ended up taking a couple fights. They were like, "Hey, you want to go fight somebody in Kansas City in 2 weeks?" I was like, "Yeah." I was 18. So by this point, and that was really fun. We got pulled over on the way down there, and the cops ended up coming to the fights. Just hilarious.
That's awesome.
And that was like the full contact rules.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a little bit closer to Taekwondo in that, you were kicking. We had the little booties and the long pants,
Yep.
So you're kicking to the body in a more similar way. And a lot of the stuff transferred. But I did get punched in the nose a whole lot because in Taekwondo, we just get so used to, you could get used to kicking with your hands down because nobody could punch you in the mouth.
Yep.
So then I went to trials, didn't go the way I wanted. I ended up getting my reffing certificate for Taekwondo, and I want to say it was for AAU. I don't remember exactly, but when I was at the meeting, they started telling us about, how important it is that we make sure people are kicking with their feet and not their shin. And I had said, why do we care if this is the best way to kick? Why do we care if somebody comes in and kicks wrong if it's not the best way? And they said, well, we really want to just keep the Muay Thai people out. They're too dangerous. So, of course, I was like, what is a Muay Thai fighter? And then I ended up going over to Minnesota Collie Group, which is also in South Minneapolis, and took some classes.
Is that Rick Fay's school?
It is Rick Fay's school. Good.
Yeah, Rick's a former guest, so yeah.
And they didn't have like a competitive vibe there.
Mm-hmm.
So it just wasn't quite what I was looking for. But one of the other students there and I went and drove to Chicago like that weekend and watched a couple guys fight for U.S. title. One of those was Nat McIntyre, who trains at the Academy, Minnesota Martial Arts Academy.
Okay. Yep.
And I was just so blown away by that fight and the way, like when I had lost it at team trials for Taekwondo, I had gotten up on points and then I had kicked her in the elbow or something and she started crying and they gave her 5 minutes to recover from being kicked in the elbow. And she's just crying. And then she got ahead and was like running away the whole time.
Wow.
And I lost. And I was just salty about it. And I was just like, this is not a fight if you're getting a break because your elbow hurts. So I was just so salty.
Yeah.
So then the contrast of that with Nat, he won his fight, but it was against Raul Lopez. He fought him a couple times, but he was just torn up. He had stitches in his shin and below his eye and above his eye.
Wow.
And but you wouldn't have known it. He was so stoic in that fight, just such a killer. And I was like, man, this is what I want to do. I want to be like that.
Okay.
And then that Monday I showed up at the Academy.
Nice. And I'm assuming you met Greg then first night?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. He would still hop in at that time. He would still hop in and whatnot. But Nat was really big in his heyday. Sean Shirk.
Oh yeah.
Was
Sean's
really
been on the show. Sean's a good
active
guy.
at that time. Even like Nick Thompson, Derek Noble, all those guys, Nick Lentz, they kind of came a little bit later. But yeah, at that time, Saul Mitchell was another one who fought on that card.
I remember that name. Yep.
And I remember just trying to sort of chase Nat, like, oh my God, he's running so fast, I got to try to catch him. And of course I never could, but having that, and that's sort of also been a recurring theme, I think, in my career, is how valuable that person is in every gym. The older fighter who's super seasoned that the younger ones can look up to and follow, because they do so much teaching, like just by proxy.
So when the first night you went there, did you go to watch or did you jump in that first night?
Oh, I just started training. Yeah, right away.
Okay.
I remember them telling me to sort of chill out. They were like, you don't want to train every day. You'll get burnt out. And I don't know if they understood like how invested I was in Taekwondo before. Mm-hmm. Like I was doing 2 days from 15 on, So it was pretty funny though. I was pretty obsessed with it.
Yeah. Some people don't get that. I know in my younger years, man, from college freshman through probably, I'd say 26, 27, whatever, when I started having kids, there was times where I was spending 6, 7, 8 hours a day at the Taekwondo school and training, and sometimes 3 a days even. So yeah, I get that. It's addictive.
And don't get me wrong, like I still had fun as a young person. I'd be out all night partying with my friends and get 3 hours of sleep and show up to spar the next day.
When you were young and you could handle that?
Oh man, I know.
Nice.
Gone are the days where I don't have a 3-day hangover if I drink,
Nice. So how long were you there before you had the chance for your first MMA fight?
I want to say I showed up there in 2005, and I fought amateur Muay Thai for a couple of years.
Okay.
Till 2007. So the TBA SA World Muay Thai Classic, I think they call it now. Is a whole deal because somebody else had trademarked their name. So it's whatever, but that very first year of that tournament was 2007 and I won that.
Okay.
And after that point, I was already kind of struggling to get matchups in Muay Thai, and there were so few women at the time.
Yeah.
That Andy Gran, actually, the program director there, was like, hey, what do you think about taking an MMA fight? So I started doing jiu-jitsu only for the purpose of fighting MMA. Okay. And then in October, I think it was September, October, I had my first, it must have been October, and my first MMA fight. And I just turned pro right away because I had about 10 or 12 amateur fights.
Okay.
Muay Thai, plus my couple of kickboxing fights I had taken while I was still doing Taekwondo.
So then when you first started at the academy, was MMA even on the radar, or were you going there strictly to do Muay Thai? Okay.
No, I just wanted to do Muay Thai. I think I tried like a little bit of jiu-jitsu, but I didn't enjoy it a ton. And truthfully, I didn't for a long time until more recently, the last 7 years or so.
Okay. And then how long did it take you to get your first big fight, beyond some local ones and stuff?
Oh God, not very long. I had a local fight. I was at the Myth. It's this like nightclub here
Yep.
in Maplewood, and that went really well. And then I got an offer to do this tournament known as HOOKnSHOOT. It was supposed to be a newcomer tournament, and I was kind of hemming and hawing. They were worried about it because I was so new, because I literally just started training. I mean, I fought my last amateur Muay Thai fight in June, and then trained some jiu-jitsu, and then was doing MMA in October.
That's so crazy. Wow.
I know. And so we were like, fuck it, let's try it. And I remember I just quit paying attention to who was even in the tournament because it was like rotating so much. Girls were pulling out. And
Yeah.
I went and I won the tournament and knocked out all 3 girls
Fast.
And then yeah, it was nuts, pretty crazy.
I know I mentioned in the intro, combined of less than a minute 45, but just to go over these, your first fight with Susie Smith, 22-second knockout. Second fight with Misha Tate, 30-second. And the final one with Patty Lee, 53 seconds. That's so awesome.
Yeah, it was one of those nights where it just was so flow state.
Yeah.
You wish you could bottle it, but it worked. It wish you could bottle that feeling. And that was pretty cool, but it wasn't televised. So it wasn't until the videos came out later that, it really, I don't know, became like people started to maybe take notice. And then I had one fight for Bodog, which is what that was supposed to be. It was supposed to be for a Bodog contract, but they were kind of on their way out at that time. And I think my manager at the time probably didn't handle it very well because we had signed for Elite XC to fight Gina, but that broke like the week of that fight, and it just pissed them off. So anyway, my original opponent pulled out. I ended up getting this judo black belt, Sarah Schneider, and I roughed her up pretty good on the feet, but I ended up getting armbarred in round 2, and that just kind of sucked. I think momentum is such a thing in MMA, and I for sure needed more work on the ground. And I think I didn't really enjoy working on the ground. But so I went into that next fight. That was I want to say it was April or something, or March. Well, maybe February.
Sarah was February. Yeah, February 1st. Yep. And
then the end of May, I fought Gina Carano for Elite XC. So I guess you could say that was for sure the biggest fight. But I think the Bodog one in Vegas was a pretty big step up for me too.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, it was May.
Okay.
Was my first real deal big top 10 fight.
And looking over the fights you've had, is there someone that you wish you could have either had a rematch with, or is there someone you wish you could have fought that you never got to?
Oh, so many.
Really? Okay.
So many. I would have loved to have fought Jarena Bars in Thai boxing.
Oh, okay.
Sarah Kaufman was a fight that was supposed to happen a couple times, never happened. I think that would have been a really fun fight.
Okay.
All people I like, that's the funny thing, is there are a number of gals that I would have liked to have fought. Yeah. And it just didn't pan out. And there were many that I was slated to fight, and it fell through. Elite XC, Sarah Schneider and I were supposed to fight in, I think, October for Elite XC right after I had fought Gina, and then that fell through. We found out on the internet 3 weeks prior.
Wow.
And it was rough because I was, I had made some decent money on sponsorship for the fight with Gina, and then I was like, oh, sweet, I can do this now, and blah, blah, blah. And then it was never depend on a fight for money, because it fell through, and it was just a hard lesson as a 22-year-old kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a really, I didn't really have a chance to build. And some of that, I think, was the time, and some of it was my striking skill was so disproportionate with my grappling skill, where it was I'm with a lot of folks, Gina had more Thai boxing than I did, obviously, but with a lot of folks, it was I'd either thrash them on the feet or be in deep shit if I got on the ground.
Yeah.
And that, it was at a time though where it's not like MMA seemed like it was going to really be a career path for women. So, I would advise a fighter to take more time so they're well-rounded before diving in the deep end, because if you do have, say, real advanced striking, you're going to get in there with really advanced folks faster than maybe somebody else who's starting early on, It
kind of sucks too. I mean, getting in being one of the trailblazers of the sport, but then not being able to be part of it when it's like peaking like it is now. And
yeah, no,
it's
for
like,
sure.
it's, I mean, obviously without you, it wouldn't be where it is, but yet you didn't get to fully benefit from that, which kind of sucks.
No, and it is a bummer, and
Yeah.
I feel, I at least got some of it in
Yeah.
PFL, some of it at the end, but I was so banged up by the end of my career. But I really feel for a lot of the women who, man, just 5 or 10 years too early.
Yeah.
Like Megumi Fuji, Tara La Rosa, like gals who were going on like 20 fight win streaks and people don't even know who the fuck they are.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I think, I don't know, it's different, right? They're different things. It's different it takes a different skill set to be first versus to rise to the top of a division.
Yeah.
And I think different traits, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the gals that were fighting at that time were the sort that were the only girl in their gym and were getting beat up for being there,
Exactly.
And it's just very different to where now, like, you can properly build a female fighter's confidence.
Yeah.
Where then, like, if you weren't fairly sure on your own, like, forget it, you're just not going to do it.
Right.
It's really interesting. And I would say that's probably true of both the men's and the women's sport in terms of, now there's just so much more reward at the end of the rainbow that it's more appealing to a lot of folks.
Yeah.
Where, at that time, even like the UFC champs weren't making that much.
No.
So,
and local fights, even, I mean, I said that before. People
peanuts.
are fighting for beer money.
My first fight was 200 and 200. It's like nothing.
200 to fight, 200 to show, or 200 to show, 200 to win. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think when I was judging, and I quit judging in 2017, 2018, I think was the last time I judged. And I think the biggest ones I remember at local fights, and these were special fights, they were like title fights and stuff, was like 5-5 or maybe 6,000. And that was high for back then. And that was like, I think when like Chris Tuchscher was putting on fights and stuff. He had some big ones up here, like, and he had some major sponsors and he had the name recognition, and he'd have people, Brock Lesnar would show up in the audience and Vanderlei Silva was here watching the fights and stuff. So that made it, he was able to do that. But he also said doing that, they didn't make it. They broke even. They didn't make anything on those fights.
Oh yeah.
Because they were paying the fighters so well. So.
Yep, I remember that actually. I remember gals what they were getting up there, and it was like comparable to what they'd make in Victor or something.
That's crazy. I still remember one fight before the commission, one of the first fights I did in the early 2000s, where they literally, the promoter got up there and be like, one of our fighters dropped out. Anyone want to come up here and make $50? I mean, just calling for people out of the audience to come up and fight. I'm just like, wow.
Oh yeah. Like, have you had Shayna Baszler on the show? I
haven't. I haven't reached out in a while. I need to reach out to her again. I actually judged one of her fights. I remember one or two of her fights up here back in the day.
Yeah, that's right. Because she would come up there. She was just in Sioux Falls. She's got some fabulous stories about fighting in a barn and getting like pulled out of the audience.
Yep. No, I'll have to reach out. I haven't reached out to her in probably a year, so I'll have to reach out to her again. So, and I know her, I think it was Bruce who was her instructor.
Yep.
Yeah. I know Bruce really well and stuff, and he's another one I should probably have on the show. So.
Oh, he'd be great too. Yeah.
I'll have to reach out to both of them again. So now, do you coach now? Are you coaching?
Yeah, I'm coaching now.
For you, is it more nerve-wracking compared to like yourself going into the cage, or coaching someone else doing it?
Earlier on in my coaching career, I was more nervous.
Okay.
But now, and oddly, I feel like becoming a mother has helped with this.
Yeah.
I feel like, at least, and maybe it's partly like I've gotten more time in with all the guys I'm coaching, but I feel like it's easier to understand them or know them better. And when you know that, I guess it's just easier to see all the moving parts. So I don't feel nervous hardly at all anymore.
Okay. That's good though.
Yeah. But I think that's just, I'm more comfortable within my skill set or something. And I think, I don't know how I would word this. Of course, like, it's a fight, anything can happen, but I very much trust their ability to adapt if we need to. And I think that goes both ways, right? Like, you can't do that unless you got a fighter that trusts you a lot, but I feel like we have we're just in a really good groove right now. So I've felt pretty good about those things. I don't get too nervous anymore.
And are you coaching out of the academy? Do you have your own place?
No. So in 2020, I actually opened my own gym.
You did?
It was
Okay.
2 weeks
Awesome.
before the shutdown.
Oh,
It was called
dang.
Striking Institute.
Okay.
And we remained open. We were open for like 5 years.
Okay.
And then I ended up combining with another gym in Minnesota called Minnesota Top Team. It's down in Egan.
Okay. Yep. Heard of them.
And they had boxing, jiu-jitsu, and CrossFit. They didn't have Muay Thai and MMA. So I brought those there. So they're my program still. We just work under the Minnesota Top Team name to keep things simple. But we had gotten to a point where our lease was up and they have like a lot more space. We didn't really have enough space to kind of expand the MMA program.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of Muay Thai fighters, but we didn't have sort of the infrastructure to make a MMA program where we were at. They also had like front desk staff and just were a little more established. And I was very early on in my pregnancy with my son at the time. And I was like, man, I'm going to need more assistance, more admin if I'm going to be able to take any time away.
Yeah.
So it ended up being like a great move. And our team down there is doing great. We have a bunch of guys fighting this weekend, actually.
Nice.
But we have guys that, up at the UFC level and everything from there on,
Okay.
from there down.
Are you there daily? Is it part-time? Is it full-time?
I wouldn't say it's full-time. I am in there daily. I have other coaches I kind of oversee.
Yeah.
Maybe like 4 or 5 days a week.
Okay. That's good though.
Yeah, it's perfect. And it depends who has what coming up. If we're real close to some fights, I'll be in there more. Sometimes I'll train guys at my place and then, or we might go somewhere else to get certain partners. And then if it's a little bit quieter time, I won't be in quite as much.
Yeah. You mentioned, becoming a mother. Now, do you think will your kids get involved in martial arts?
Yeah. I mean, I want him to, at the very least, be able to be competent, I don't know
if he were to come to you and be like, Mom, I want to be an MMA fighter, how do you think you'd react to that? He's like 17 years old or something.
I'd be okay with it.
Okay.
I don't think I could coach him.
Yeah.
In a technical way, I could, but you got to make fighters hard, and I'm too soft with them. I'd have to send them to one of my friends, I think, interestingly, the thing that is helpful is the way that early parenting teaches you to pick up on nonverbals.
Yeah.
They say your brain rewires for that, right?
Yeah.
In pregnancy and childbirth. And I think that's accurate. I think that's actually helped the coaching a lot. But it is so funny, man. Like, of course, he's only a year old, right? But if he falls down and gets hurt, I'm so like, oh my gosh. Where, in the gym, I don't think anything of a broken nose.
Yeah.
Or whatever,
Yep. No, I get that. And that's one thing that too, I know if you have more kids, trust me, it'll change. The first one compared to cause I have 3. And it's like,
okay.
That first one, the first time they fall on the steps, you freak out as a parent and you probably cry more than they do. By the third one, you're like, all right, you're good.
Yeah.
It's a lot different. So.
I believe it. So, yeah. It's just so funny.
So with your story and being there at the beginning of women's MMA, any thoughts of writing a book?
Oh man. That'd be amazing. It sounds like a lot of work, but I would.
Yeah.
I used to write a blog for Zebra Athletics, and there are a lot of really interesting lessons. I feel like fighting in so many ways is a mirror for life, and so many of the skills that you maybe aren't even setting out to develop, but you do, because you get faced with these very painful, is this working or not? Mm-hmm. And getting your ass kicked in front of everybody, you can't, your ego can't hide behind anything there. You know what I mean? So you have to confront yourself, and you have to confront things in your life. And I haven't met too many people who have sort of been at this for any length of time who don't develop a real sort of incredible ability to self-reflect. It's just a delightful trait.
Yeah.
And I think watching people transform via doing martial arts is such a cool thing. And you get a lot of little lessons, little stories along the way. Honestly, like a little book of short stories maybe that's where it's at, somewhere in there.
That'd be cool. And with technology now, if you're AI to help write and stuff like that. And if you don't want to do it yourself, or it can do proofreading for you and everything. And especially with like self-publishing, it's definitely now a lot easier to write a book than it was 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, if you do, you'll have to let me know.
For sure.
I will add a link to your interview when your book comes out, hopefully in a few years, and
sounds good.
We'll get people to buy it. So, and I got to ask, I know earlier you mentioned, before Taekwondo, you were really into football. You wanted to play football. So I know Minnesota has the Vixen pro women's football team.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying.
God, right? No, I'm lazy now. I don't want to work that hard. I feel like I trained the final Muay Thai coach I had, his name was Kornpet, and he was from Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
And he worked me so hard. And I think he really got the best out of me.
Yeah.
But I am for sure sort of like, I'm good. I do jujitsu a few times a week. And
Okay.
I'll get in and spar with people, but I don't want to try that hard. It's just because a few people have been like, oh, would you take another fight again? And I'm like, man, I know I'm sort of past that point. And maybe like something like Minnesota Vixen would be fun, because I doubt they're, as semi-pro, I doubt they're out there training 6 hours a day.
Yeah.
But, but in my mind, I'm just like, oh my God. I think I also am not good about doing things like casually either.
Okay.
You'd
want to go all in. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Well, that kind of probably answers my other question. Do you think at any point you'll ever want to get back into like a traditional martial art?
Oh, that's a good question. I've been really into jiu-jitsu lately. I've got a couple stripes in my brown belt. I really want to get my black belt there, if you consider that traditional.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I don't see myself doing the other ones as much. I maybe would if my son got into it.
Okay.
But I just sort of I feel like a lot of them, and not all, but a lot of them have rank without humility.
Okay.
And I know they talk about that a lot, but being humble and this and that. But what I mean by that is it's so easy to kind of rank up if you're never tested. This is what I love about jiu-jitsu, is even if you're not going to compete, it's one of the few martial arts that you can do close to 100% without competing. I think it's a little bit dangerous to give people power and rank that comes with a black belt, say, in any martial art, without them also having had to get their ass kicked in front of people. Some people that doesn't become a problem, but I think with enough people it can, or maybe it attracts people that becomes a problem for them. It's hard to say, is it chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
But I've found in a lot of traditional martial arts, inevitably there's a couple people like that at every school that sort of revel in having the power over other people and don't have like the same kindness I think you have that you develop when you failed a lot, which anybody does if you're having to train live.
Oh yeah.
So that really turns me off a lot of the traditional martial arts.
Yeah. And I think with that too, sometimes some of that's on the instructor. I mean, I think a good instructor
absolutely
notices that and squashes it pretty quick too. So.
Yep. But yeah, I think jiu-jitsu is one of those that really appeals to me for that reason. And you're seeing this more like now with Muay Thai becoming more mainstream, and now gyms are creating their own belt system for that. Like the same sort of thing is happening, where this sort of false bravado, and that, it's not to say there's also an issue of somebody who just happens to be really athletic also kind of being a jerk because they can beat up everybody just because they're athletic, not because they're necessarily knowledgeable or have put the work in.
Right.
So, it can be either, but I like the martial arts that make people have to put it on the line to rank up.
Nice.
And I think that's harder to do maybe in striking arts, where it's like, okay, man, if you've got 3 kids and a full-time job, it's hard to want to go get smashed up and have to go to work on Monday.
Yes,
it is. So
well, I can vouch for that. Yep.
For sure, right? I don't want to do that necessarily at this point in my life either. So.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
But I think some cultural things I don't love about it. It's not to say there aren't some good gyms, but it's so easy to find in jiu-jitsu, where I think it's a little bit less that way.
Nice. So over your martial arts journey, starting back when you were, 14, is there one philosophy that you've either developed on your own or learned from someone else that is just super important to you? It's at the top of your list.
Yeah, I would say it's not who's good, it's who's left.
Nice.
And I'm sure you've seen this countless times in your journey as well, like the most talented people come in, and if they don't have that perseverance, that wherewithal, they just wash out.
Yep.
And so often you'll see somebody that you would never think would become anything. They maybe don't seem that athletic or whatever, but they just stick with it and they become like really incredible.
Yeah.
And that's something I really noticed in Thailand too. There's so much more of a slow cook attitude.
Mm-hmm.
We're here in the States, sometimes we get this attitude like, if I'm not good at this thing tomorrow, I'm never going to be good at it.
Yeah.
And I think for all of us, it's so important to have that patience with yourself, to just keep on keeping on, because mastery comes over time.
Yeah.
And just because somebody doesn't have to learn, doesn't have to have the same struggles early on, doesn't mean a different struggle won't get them later. And that sort of patience with yourself and other people, especially people you're mentoring, is so important.
Yeah. All right. How about a worst martial arts related injury
that I've had?
Yeah.
Oh man. I had a 2-level disc replacement.
Ooh, dang.
In my neck.
Okay. Wow.
So.
And did you compete after that happened?
Oh yeah. My last probably 2 years in PFL, I had that. Sorry, I didn't compete after the surgery. I competed after the injury though.
Okay.
And I should have done the surgery earlier. It was a long recovery, but it feels so much better.
Okay.
I think I kind of burned those last 2 years, like struggling with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really nasty. And that was wear and tear though, so I don't know if that really counts. Separated ribs was one of the worst ones, most painful ones I've had.
Okay. Wow. All right. I got a few fun questions we use to wrap up the interview. So sure. First of all, as someone who fought in MMA, curious about your walk-up music. First of all, did it change all the time? Did you use the same one for a long period? And also, if you had to do a fight today, what would your current walk-up song be?
Oh, I changed it all the time.
You did?
I even sometimes would just let the DJ pick it.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. I started kind of walking out to reggae more later on, so probably something like that. Welcome to Jam Rock or something.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't ever get too hung up in it, but it's funny because I really enjoy seeing what my fighters or other fighters pick.
Now, do most of them, you're around it more than I am, do most of them change it up, or does some of them keep one and stick? I know, a lot of the local fights I used to judge, at least the fighters that I saw coming back time after, most of them, for the most part, use the same one.
Yeah.
Is that normal?
Some use the same one.
Okay.
One gentleman I'm coaching, Steven Asplin, his dad was a fighter, so he comes out to father like son. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of fun. I had another guy I used to coach who used to always come out to Sweet Caroline because he got
nice.
The crowd into it.
That's awesome.
So I really enjoy those things. I think I never took it too seriously. And maybe I should have, because I do think it becomes a person's hallmark to some degree.
Yeah. I know one of my favorites, we had one local fighter who used to come out to Phil Collins In the Air Tonight. That was kind of cool. Wasn't your typical pump up fights on it. It was this slow build, and then essentially when they hit the drum solo, he'd start walking towards the cage and stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. He played it very well, and the crowd used to love it, so it was good.
Yeah, it sets the tone. It's great when somebody leans into it.
Yep. I know, it's always fun because that's when I ask all my guests, even the ones who never fought before. Traditionally, I always if you were to fight, what would your walk-up song? And a lot of them are like, oh, that's a good question. And so I get anything from AC/DC and Eye of the Tiger, and I get funny ones, TV theme songs and stuff and things like that. So it's cool to hear what people pick. So.
Yeah.
All right. Who are 3, 4, 5 names that you would put on your personal Mount Rushmore of martial arts?
Oh, God, that's a big question. Well, you have to put Bruce Lee on there because of just the scope and the visibility. I put Ronda Rousey on there.
Nice.
I think it's really incredible the amount she did for women's MMA, but then I think also MMA in general, right? Because I think more women paid attention to it after that. It's 50% of the world, right?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Hoist Gracie for sure. First UFC. He's not my favorite person in the world necessarily, but he's not even much of a martial artist himself. But maybe Dana White.
Okay. Yeah. Few people have picked him, so I can see that.
Or Rogan. Maybe let's swap White with Rogan.
Okay, I like that.
Because I think he's spread a lot of awareness about it too.
Yeah, definitely.
And we're talking about big public opinion, right?
Oh, yeah.
I would say, well, yeah, Bruce Lee, Ronda Rogan, and Hoist.
Okay, I like it. All right. Do you have a favorite martial arts book?
Art of War.
Nice. Okay, I
Yeah.
like that one. How about a favorite martial arts video game? Did you ever get into gaming?
Ninja Turtles, the NES system, for sure.
Nice. So I never played it on the NES, but I remember my local arcade had the one with the 4 controllers, so 4 people could play at once and each be one of the Ninja Turtles. That was so awesome. All right. How about a favorite martial arts TV show?
Oh, man. I don't know. I mean, does Xena count? I liked Xena as a kid.
You would not be the first one to pick it, so I would say it would count. Yeah.
Got to count then.
Yep. That is cool. I like that. Was a fun show.
It was a fun show. Somebody posted a reel of it yesterday, and I was like, that was a good show.
There's some good fight scenes on there too, so I like it. All right. How about a favorite martial arts movie?
Ooh, Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, which one? There's been so many.
The original
from the 90s. Okay, good. I've interviewed a few people that have been in that were in that movie, so that's good.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. This one doesn't have to be a martial arts movie. Any movie you've seen in your whole life, a favorite movie fight scene.
Lethal Weapon. I don't remember which one. It was the first time I saw jiu-jitsu.
Oh, that was the first one when he puts the guy in the triangle choke.
Yes.
Yes. Yep. Mel Gibson. Yeah. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, that was the first. I don't know about the first, but I think it might be the first time jiu-jitsu was seen on a mainstream movie. I know you see some judo in Bruce Lee's Enter the Dragon, but I don't know if it was considered jiu-jitsu or not.
Right.
So yeah, that's a good pick. All right. Final question. You don't have to give an answer if you don't want to. I know we're recording this 2 days before the big fight. We got Ronda versus Gina coming up.
Yeah.
Do you want to go on record and make a prediction and see how it holds up in a month when your episode comes out?
I don't want to make a prediction
about
outcome.
That's okay.
But I do want to make a prediction about what is going to happen. So Gina had, when I fought her, amazing timing. Really, really good timing with her strikes. And Ronda, what's funny about Ronda and other judo players, people kind of tear apart their striking, but it's the elite balance from judo that gives them power. It's not because the strikes are picture perfect.
Right.
So they still hit hard no matter where they are because they're so balanced. So I think, if Gina's able to use her timing to keep a distance, because I think if it gets to the clinch, Ronda's pretty dang tough to deal with.
It's over then, I think. Yeah.
But Gina's got really good timing and she's good at keeping people away. And I think you can't, of course, it's been a very long time, but I think it's hard for people not to carry what happened in their last couple fights in with them.
Yeah.
So, of course, Ronda's been more active lately, and I haven't even caught wind of what weight this fight is at. Do you know?
I actually don't know either. That's a good question.
But I think it could be closer than a lot of people are assuming.
Okay. Do you think it'll live up to the hype?
I don't know. I don't think women slow down at the same rate men do.
Yeah.
Our testosterone doesn't give us the same athletic peak that young guys get.
Yeah.
But that also means the cliff isn't as steep when it starts to fall off, right? When our hormones change.
Right.
So I think it's definitely going to look better than the guys when they fight a little bit older.
I hope so. And if Google's correct, they're fighting at 145.
Okay.
Closer to Carano's fight weight than Ronda's.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that'll be interesting.
And she is hard, man. Gina was the hardest hitter I fought.
Okay. Wow.
Hardest puncher.
Honestly, I haven't sat and watched a full MMA fight in a few years. I just kind of lost interest. But this one I'm actually going to sit and watch. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's also tough because Ronda fought so much more recently and she was doing WE and was more active and all these things. So
yeah,
it's still interesting to me. I'm very interested to watch, and I'm glad they're making that money too.
Yes.
That's great.
I hope it's a good fight. I hope it's not over in one round. I hope it goes at least 2 or 3. I hope it's a good fight, a good show, and I think it'll be good for the sport. I hope so. That's the important thing.
I think so too.
Well, before I let you go, Kaitlin, any last minute words, anything that I maybe forgot to ask you want to get out there quick?
Gosh, not that I can think of. I feel like I've been just yammering on.
That's what we want, though. That's good.
No, I mean, just, anybody that's listening, especially fighters, be patient with yourself. Don't get discouraged if you're not at the top of the totem pole yet. It'll come. Just have patience.
I like
you
it.
know?
Well, seriously, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you. Like I said, I know we've been trying to do this for a while, and I'm so glad it worked out. And I think the listeners are really going to enjoy this one.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. You do a great interview.
Thank you.
So, all right. I appreciate it, Brian. I'll talk to you later.
Wrap up today's episode by taking your own training to the next level with Martial Theory by Steve Perlman, the book that's redefining martial arts thinking. Find Martial Theory on Amazon today. Join the worldwide movement at martialtheoryu.com, where you'll find Q&A sessions, live events, and direct guidance from Steve himself. Use code EverydayMA for 20% off for life. That's martialtheoryu.com, code EverydayMA. Thanks for listening to Everyday Martial Artist. We hope you will join us every week for a brand new episode with a different martial artist telling their story. If you enjoy the show, be sure to leave us a review. Also, be sure to check out our website at everydaymartialartist.com. There you can find all of our episodes and contact us to suggest guests and ask questions. Again, thanks for listening to Everyday Martial Artist, and we'll see you next week.